Tonight on The Late Show, Dave welcomes Barbara Walters, plus bits working for the census and an NHL Top 10. But first, stay tuned for your local news.
Now on WCCO-4 News, he was a Boy Scout planning to become a priest, but police are investigating how he was killed on this winding county road.
Oh my God.
You're watching home video of a SWAT standoff ending after 5 long days. Plus, Jesse Ventura sees this in your future, but can he keep his plan on track? Next.
With clear, accurate coverage, this is WCCO-4 News, the hometown team.
Hello, I'm Dennis Doda. Don Shelby and Amelia Santinello have this night off. A local family tonight is mourning the death of a son hit by a repeat drunk driver. Police say the suspect wasn't drunk, but he wasn't supposed to be driving either. WCCO's Tony Berlin is here to explain.
Dennis, the victim's father tells us tonight this is not a time for bitterness, but a time to honor their son's memory. But police tell us too many times these types of restricted drivers slip through the cracks.
Their family's finding out very much this week how many lives he really touched.
A life filled with so much promise.
It's an 18-year-old boy that was just going to the farm to do chores.
Ends tragically on this highway right in front of his home. 18-year-old Charles Unz was a decorated Eagle Scout who had just been accepted into the Catholic seminary.
He was a very fine young man who felt very close to God and tried to bring other people to God.
21-year-old Kevin DeGruglier is a repeat drunk driver. Police say he was driving illegally and hit Unz as Unz walked to a nearby turkey farm. Twice convicted of drunk driving, DeGruglier was on what's called a limited driver's license, meaning he could drive to and from work. But police say on Monday morning he had no reason to be out. Charges are pending against DeGruglier. The family is more concerned about the memory of their son than anger at the man who hit him.
It's human nature for us to say why or to get angry, and there's nothing wrong with that. God understands that, but we have to give it the time it needs, you know, for healing to come.
Well, police say there are far too many people out there like DeGruglier who are driving illegally. Part of the problem, they say, weak laws, because this was an accident. The most DeGruglier is facing now, Dennis, is misdemeanor charges.
Okay, thank you, Tony. You know, most parents dread the nights when their kids take off in the car, and now a new study shows the danger isn't actually how they drive, but with whom they drive. Researchers found that the more teens there are in a car, the more likely it is that they will get into a deadly crash. Doctors at Johns Hopkins University also found teenaged boys are the most likely to die. Some states are trying new licenses that limit passengers for new drivers. A working-class neighborhood in Maryland is returning to normal after a violent end to a 5-day standoff. A neighbor was shooting this videotape last night as a SWAT team broke through a window.
Oh, they just broke the window. They just went in the house. Oh my God. Shots fired.
Those police shot Joseph Palczynski dead. 2 of the 3 hostages escaped after dropping tranquilizers in the suspect's iced tea. Police then stormed the house and rescued a boy who was still stuck inside. Palczynski had been wanted in the murders of 3 other people. After a cut cable, grounded Northwest Airlines is back in business and looking for some answers. A utility crew cut 2 sets of communications lines in Eagan yesterday afternoon. Crews were still working on it today. The cut temporarily shut down Northwest's computer system and forced it to ground, delay, or cancel hundreds of flights. U.S. West owns the lines, but a competitor actually cut them, saying the cables weren't marked above ground. U.S. West says that's simply not true. Governor Jesse Ventura is digging in his heels, defending light rail. The idea is running into trouble. David Schechter is live with more on whether or not this plan can stay on track. David?
Well, Dennis, these are old rail lines in South Minneapolis. However, the governor wants to build new ones that will connect downtown with the Mall of America and the airport. However, there are some lawmakers who don't want the governor's train to leave the station just yet.
But we have more kids.
I'm not touching you.
As Governor Ventura protected his personal space and his public plans, attacks on light rail grew louder.
It's the wrong corridor. It doesn't make any sense. People going to the Mall of America and people going to the airport are not what's causing congestion in the metropolitan area.
But at a televised debate, The governor defended light rail as good for economic development.
60% of the people in the Franklin Avenue area down there of South Minneapolis do not own cars. Do not own cars, and yet they should be cut off from going out and taking jobs at the airport and the Mall of America, which the suburbanites won't take.
This week, the light rail proposal took a hit in the House Transportation Bill. And in the Senate, DFL Senator John Marty sponsored a bill to scrap light rail and use the money to improve existing bus service. It only lost by 2 votes.
And so if we improve the bus system, so you can really use it to get to work, to get to childcare, to get to school, boy, the potential is there, and I don't think it's dreaming to say that we could double our transit ridership.
Either way, citizens are still looking for solutions.
Let's do something. I mean, we can't keep going the way we are. Nothing's been done for the last 9 years.
So where does that leave light rail? Well, even opponents like Senator Marty say it'll be pretty hard to derail it. However, if tonight is any indication, the governor is in for a good fight. Dennis?
All right, David, thank you. One plan is for sure. The historic Stillwater Bridge is coming down. The Federal Highway Administration says there is no way to preserve the bridge and make room for increased traffic. This is video of the bridge going up today for the first time this season, and that marks the start of the boating season on the St. Croix River, about 2 months earlier than usual. A new bridge is tentatively planned to open in 2004. Okay, don't blame the postmaster. Too much paperwork is the reason behind tardy tax refund checks. If you filed by paper, the State Revenue Commissioner says your refund money may be 4 months late. This year's long form is taking longer to process. Agents recommend e-filing your taxes, and that way you can hope to get your refund in about 10 days. Palestinians are taking hope from a papal visit in the Holy Land. Pope John Paul II visited a large Palestinian refugee camp today on the West Bank. Refugees began fleeing here in 1948 during a war between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Now 10,000 people here dream of going back to their own country, and the Pope told them today that he would pray for comfort. And the president is trying to encourage peace in Southeast Asia. He and his daughter posed for pictures of the Taj Mahal today. Earlier, during a speech to Parliament, Mr. Clinton asked India to be careful with nuclear weapons when dealing with its neighbor, Pakistan. And the president's old girlfriend, Monica Lewinsky, has had a tough year, and to help cope, she has decided to become a bag lady, a posh Manhattan handbag lady, that is. Lewinsky has designed her own line of purses and tote bags. She took up sewing and knitting, she says, to get through the stressful scandal. She displayed her totes today on New York's Fifth Avenue. Bags in the collection range in price from $90 to $150. Lewinsky's bags are even for sale on the internet, and you can just log on to WCCO.com and we'll get you there for a closer look. Well, later, 2 firsts. 1, a new idea you have never seen on your computer before. And 2, something you've never seen on television. Don't want to miss that. In sports, hit the slopes. The skiing's great. See where we found some nice runs and even better talent right here in Minnesota. But first, threats of a strike, accusations of a sick out. So what's the inside story behind a hometown company's fight with its flight attendants? Some answers next in Dimension.
By leasing, it'll give you a lower payment.
I don't know. A pickup?
Julie, that's a really low payment.
How about a test drive? I'm driving.
Check out the 2000 Ford Ranger with switch-on-the-fly 4-wheel drive, easy 4-door access, V6 power, and a lease payment of just $139 a month.
We'll take that one.
Test drive a Ranger at your Northland Ford store.
It starts this Friday. You'll get the lowest prices of the season at Kohl's. Get our lowest prices in every department. In men's and women's clothing, in kidswear, in shoes, and bath and bedding. Our lowest prices of the season. In brand names throughout the store. Plus, get bonus buys through Monday. It all starts Friday at 8 a.m. at Kohl's.
Welcome to Nissan's tournament event. Your chance to slam dunk a deal on some of the auto industry's best new talent. Like the Nissan Pathfinder, now with 3.9% APR financing for 5 years. A savings of up to $2,500. Plus, get $1,400 cash back for a final savings of up to $3,900. Or grab the Maxima GXE with 3.9% APR financing. Don't let the shot clock run out on this one. The tournament event with up to $3,900 in Pathfinder savings ends March 31st.
So, what brought you to us, Roger?
That's my girlfriend. She left me.
Hey, man. But you must realize that this is a lifetime commitment.
I have nothing. I just don't want to spend the rest of my life sitting at home, waiting.
Only US West Advanced PCS lets you use your home number as your wireless number.
Hello?
Oh, Roger, I'm so glad you're home. I want you back.
Because when you really need to stay in touch,
I gotta go.
The simpler, the better. Take your home number with you. Only with US West. Life's better here.
Where was that phone when I needed it?
We've just made it easier to separate yourself from the crowd with a new Dodge Ram. Overall, America's most powerful line of pickups. Now on select 2000 models, get exceptionally low financing. Or choose this generous cash allowance. In a perfect world, everything would be different. Until then, see the friendly Dodge dealer near you during our Think Spring event.
Now, Don Shelby, Amelia Santinello, weather with Paul Douglas, and Mark Rosen on sports. You're watching WCCO 4 News, the hometown team.
Negotiations between Northwest and the Flight Attendants Union continue this week. The two sides have reached a tentative agreement on just 4 of about 30 sections of a new contract. Now, some flight attendants are coming forward about the long labor struggle. In Dimension, WCCO's Rick Fuentes talks to them about the stalemate.
Shelley Worley is trying to make her scrapbook business a cut above, showing newlyweds and new moms how to preserve their pictures. But this is Shelley's second job.
I do that to help supplement the family income.
Shelley's real job is up there. Shelley is a 15-year Northwest flight attendant, one of many without a new contract.
You have an employer who sues the flight attendant group and then expects them to still go to work every day with a smile on their face.
Northwest has taken the Flight Attendants Union and its employees to court for allegedly instigating a sick-out last New Year's Eve, and even seized the home computers of 2 flight attendants, Ted Reeve and Kevin Griffin, who run websites that allegedly encourage the sick-out. Northwest claims a 300% increase in canceled flights on that New Year's Eve. The flight attendants say canceled flights were not their fault.
Those are their numbers. I would say it was poor planning on their part. I think that they should have